Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Populous Podcast. I'm Charles,
I'm Chase.
and this is our first video in how long, Chase?
It's been a solid few months. I think our last video would have been the one on the United States Postal Service, so pre-election results.
Yeah, just like a quick explanation as to why we've been inactive on this channel. So I'm currently a junior in college, and Chase is a senior in high school. We've just been busy with school, and that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to add, Chase?
No, just, application process for senior season and all that. Just getting enrolled in college now, so it's been a bit hectic.
Yeah, but we are going to try to at least bring you, if not weekly, bi-weekly content on the channel, make it a little bit more active for 2021. But let's get the ball rolling with probably two really big stories. One was a big story on the night it happened. It's no longer the biggest story in the United States, but the two Georgia runoff elections in which we had the 6-year term available with Jon Ossoff challenging incumbent David Perdue, and the special election, which I believe is for a 4-year term between incumbent.
No, I believe it's up in 2022.
Okay, so a 2-year term, and it was between appointee Kelly Left and challenger Raphael Warnock. And surprisingly, probably to my own personal surprise, the Democrats ended up winning both.
Yeah, I have to say I definitely had my doubts about this, especially with Ossoff not even claiming as much of the vote as we thought he would in the previous election, barely hanging on to go to the runoff. It was definitely a little bit unexpected, but Democrats did gain the majority in the Senate, so pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and I think I heard somewhere that the closing message pitch from Democrats was, "We'll give you $2,000 if you vote for us." And I mean, that's a pretty strong pitch, if I do say so myself.
Especially in areas like Atlanta, obviously, where there's a huge, with any big city area, there's a huge wealth discrepancy between the very top and the very bottom. I think that that's definitely an appealing message, and it's nice to, even if it's fleeting, see the Democrats take a stance on something like that.
Yeah, and hopefully now we'll be able to get the $2,000. I know it's only a one-time payment, if I'm correct in my interpretation of the bill, but people need help. People need to be able to pay mortgages, pay rent, buy food, all those good things that they'll be able to do with the bill. And then the second one that became instantly the biggest story of the day, things got a bit rowdy in Washington, D.C., more specifically Capitol Hill, where Congress functions. Chase, do you want to tell them what happened?
Yeah, so, I'm sure we're mostly familiar with it. It dominated pretty much every headline for the last 2 days, and any channel you flip to is covering it. Essentially, a bunch of Trump supporters, or as Trump supporters would tell you, a bunch of Antifa, communist, Marxist, Leninist, Bidenists took to Capitol Hill to express their dissatisfaction with the outcome of the election, or what they believe to not be the outcome of the election, and attempted to impede the congressional hearing in the Senate regarding the certification of those votes. And so what I think was interesting about this is originally it was 14 senators that were in line, including Ted Cruz, who was kind of leading the fight to object to the certification of those results. And I think by the time that all was said and done with the riots, or whatever word you want to use to describe them, on Capitol Hill, it was only 6 senators, I think, at least for the Arizona votes, was how many objected.
Yeah, I just remember hearing about it yesterday, and obviously the first thing someone who thinks like the two of us is going to think is, well, what if they were black? that was definitely the first thing that happened, or that happened to cross my mind, rather. Just the fact that, you see Black Lives Matter protesters get absolutely assaulted by the police. Even that old man, who I believe was trying to help the police in, I think it was Buffalo, he just got pushed down. His head started bleeding. Didn't really see much of that yesterday. I think the biggest thing that happened was a woman got shot. Is it confirmed that she's dead now?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So a woman died entering the Capitol building, but the fact that they were able to break in pretty harmlessly, or not harmlessly, that they were able to break in unimpeded kind of says a lot, to be completely honest with you.
So I agree. I mean, I think you can look at the stark juxtaposition of, when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on, there's an image of just fully riot geared out, like rows and rows of police officers manning the steps to Capitol Hill, and then you see the difference with yesterday when it's a bunch of largely, predominantly white protesters, and security was lax. I even saw videos of security officers at the Hill, or police officers, whatever they were, taking selfies with the rioters. I mean, it's just that stark contrast. Like, America's not even trying to hide that racism anymore, that bigotry. It's out there in the open for anybody who wants to see it.
Yeah. And then, I think about it, and I realize that just because Trump's gone doesn't mean that fascism's gone, and it really never was going to disappear to begin with. So now it really puts pressure on the Democrats these next 2 years to either govern really well or have really, really good election results in the midterms and in the off years, because we know the off years are going to be where you select state officials and local officials. So it's really on the Democrats. The Democrats kind of need to, I hate to say it, but they have to be our protection from fascism at this point. And as much as that's terrible for me to say, but it is the truth.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point. I mean, when you look at this entire election cycle, the entire focus was getting rid of Trump. It was, we need to pick Biden over possibly stronger candidates like Bernie Sanders. We need to pick Biden because he's electable, and that needs to be our first focus, is getting Trump out of office. And as much as I, disagree with that philosophy, I think we do need to look at it now is we have to push Biden. Like, he is our only chance at this point. And it's about, now that we have Trump, I mean, not out of office yet, but hopefully out of office by January 20th, it's about curing the root causes that led to Trump. Trump was merely a byproduct. And now we need to look at what caused Trump. What were the systemic reasons that allowed for a candidate like Trump to take root so effectively, despite being so blatantly anti-democratic, very authoritarian president. And I mean, anybody could have seen that coming. Pretty openly racist. Anybody could have seen that coming. But it happened. And it's not just Trump. It's a systemic issue that facilitated his rise to fame. And so that's what we definitely need to be pushing Biden and other moderate Democrats to look at in the coming 4 years. It's a sad note to end it on, but that is all we have for you guys today. We really appreciate you watching and sticking with us, even when we haven't been the most consistent uploaders and posters as of late. So if you did enjoy this more informal, kind of just ranty sort of format, let us know in the comments. Leave a like on this video, all that good stuff. And we will definitely try to be more consistent in the coming weeks and months. So again, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.